Hello, this is Community Unity Now, the D Tycoon Show. My co-host, Bill Morton, president of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, still cannot be with us today. He is still nursing his injury. I am Trudy Leong, administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Our very special guest today is Jasmine Smith. She is the co-chair of the Chicago Alliance of Against Racism and political repression.
Yes.
Welcome, Jasmine.
Thank you, Trudy. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So first of all, tell us about how you became co-chair of CAARPR.
Okay, so activist Jasmine Smith, you all, I could be followed on all platforms at activist Jasmine Smith. You can Google. But I became a part of this organization 3.5 years ago, looking for help for my two loved ones, Lester Owens and Rico Clark, and 16 others who had all been wrongfully convicted by one of the highest paid sergeants here in Chicago, Illinois, which is Brian P. Forberg, and his partners, Kevin Eberly and John Foster, who are all still on our force right now. And I met Frank Chapman and our late Sashta Jones, may her soul rest in peace. But I was at an event, basically just networking that my brother Rico Clark had sent me to, met them, told them that I needed help for not just my two loved ones, but at that time, 3.5 years ago, we knew that it was 18 in total. Now to this day, 2025, it's 43 survivors that has been wronged by this sergeant and his partners. So Frank told me that we have a campaign within the Chicago Alliance Against Race and Political Repression, dealing strictly with survivors that's been tortured by police, wrongfully convicted by police, and they're fighting to bring awareness to their cases and can bring the news out, do court support, and many other things. We have a meeting, They invited me to come to the meeting bi-weekly, every other Thursday, 6 p.m. via Zoom. And I started going to the meetings. I actually had an event to bring in the families that were all wronged by that detective. They opened up the office for free to do that. And from there, from the meetings and me just speaking, they noticed the leadership in me, the community, engagement within myself and bringing people together to fight this cause. And they asked me to be a member. They asked me to become a member. Then they asked me to become a leader. So now I'm one of the co-chairs over this amazing campaign, fighting for the survivors, the voiceless. And I'm an executive member over our chapter, Chicago chapter. We're a national alliance. We got 23 up and running cities here. So that's how I became about, fighting for my two loved ones and the other men that were all wrongfully convicted. And now it's like I live and breathe it. Like I wake up and I fight for many different things that we impacted by within our communities.
Well, you're very articulate and you're very passionate.
Yeah.
So before all this happened, before your loved ones got wrongfully convicted, what were you doing? Did anything that you were doing help you become the leader that you are now?
I always been a leader since I was a little girl. I always been a fighter. I actually have a nonprofit myself that's dealing with temporary residential living and impacted women that's been battered with their kids and stuff like that I'm trying to get up and running off the ground. But it's fighting. I always had a passion to fight for people who didn't have the power within themselves to speak for themselves, didn't have the platforms for themselves to fight back. So fighting for women that's been battered or fighting for children, adolescent children that's, impacted by the violence within our communities. It's just always been a passion. Even just fighting up against a corrupt system that was never designed for my people that look like me. It just put a fire and, passion in me that every day I'd rather get up fighting for a change than to sit back and complain and not do anything about it.
Let's see how the outreach is for Chicago Alliance Against Racism and Political Repression. How did you learn about them and so that you actually try going to them for help?
So the Alliance has been around for 50 years now. I think it's like our 51st year now. They started with the Angela Davis movement, friend Angela Davis, and the political parties with the Black Panther Party. Also, friend our executive director, Frank Chapman himself, they helped get him out, and many other legends that came that helped created the foundation of the Alliance. And the Alliance took a short break. We reestablished back in, I believe, 2019, I want to say, 2019, and the fight has continued to fight for political prisoners, fight for people that's been wronged by the system, injustices, fighting for accountability now of the police who caused, the torture, the wrongful convictions, and they name ring bells in the prisons, like my name ringing bells within the Illinois Department of Corrections. And everybody wants to get involved, get in contact, and they find out about our meetings, our protests and rallies. And that's what my two loved ones, they found out about an event that the Alliance was going to be at. And I went. And then that's how I got connected. Thank God, I walk by faith, not by sight. So every step I've been taking, my God has been leading me in the right direction to help these guys and women.
It is an uphill battle. It seems so entrenched. Were police officers or sergeants ever convicted of their wrongdoing?
No. The only officer within our history and time two. Ronald Watts, he was convicted. We forgot to talk about that earlier. But he was convicted of over 100 people that he falsely imprisoned back in when the projects was built, stuff like that. He got in trouble, got convicted for his crimes, but he didn't get nowhere near the time that he deserved or what they would have did to a regular civilian if that civilian committed those type of crimes. But he got in trouble in Burke. He only got in trouble because he committed perjury on the stand. And then later on died while he was in prison. So he never got charged for the actual torture of torturing hundreds of innocent men into false confessions or witnesses into false confessions to get these convictions through. And and he still was able to collect his pension. So we dealing with a long history that's over 3 decades of running on a system that was designed to wrongfully convict people, put it out there to the world that they've gotten the right people, and then now here we are 2025, almost $1 billion in on civil lawsuits because over 100 men has been freed due to corruption, all while the criminals are still roaming our streets. So that's like you said, it's an uphill battle, Trudy, and I'm here to fight it, and I just encourage the viewers. I thank people like you giving us a platform to talk about this, and hopefully, we can keep talking about it on a weekly or monthly basis, like that the voters have to understand. Chicago taxpayers, you a taxpayer. Your money is funding this corruption within Illinois. And it's not enough noise it's not enough outrage about it because these officers, the main 3 officers that's on my loved ones' cases, and there's 43 other survivors, Brian P. Forberg, Kevin Eberly, John Foster, he's a commander over Area 5. John Foster is, so he's over like 6 police districts that he's running, while he got over a dozen men rotting in prison for crimes that they didn't commit. He's incompetent. Why is he still on the force?
Yeah, why? So what are we up against? What are the other parts of the wheel that is keeping this system in place?
Glad you asked that. So there are a lot of elected officials that play a role that can help within it, to correct the wrongs of the injustices that's been done, and they could actually hold people accountable that played a role in the injustices being done. Eileen Burke, who is our new state's attorney now, she plays a major role in a lot of cases that are back in court right now. She could unoppose the motions for them to be vacated of all cases that's in there for police pattern of practice, actual innocence, wrongful convictions, coerced confessions. A lot of these officers, where cases that we're dealing with that are back in court, the officers' pattern of practice has already been deemed credible because they cost the city millions of dollars already. Instead of her addressing this, she hasn't even met with organizations that's out here fighting this type of fight. So when she ran, she didn't meet with grassroots organizations to correct the issues or see what it is that she can help, how she can help us. She came in protecting the cops, the dirty cops at that. She came in dropping charges against one cop that brutally beat a Palestinian out in Oakland. Dropped the charges a day before his hearing. So that let us know where she stand. Then she rolled back.
How long was she in office before she did that? About
She was only in office for about a couple of weeks. Maybe a month. I give it that she was in the office a month before she came in and rolled that cop back and let that officer walk away scot-free. That was going to have his day in court. She didn't even let him have his day in court. She just dropped the charges.
Could he be recharged, or is there a double jeopardy?
She has the power to recharge, pick them charges back up, and hold him accountable for the crimes that him and his partners had committed against that teenager. It made the news. A lot of these cases, and like we've made the news with a lot of survivors that we're fighting for, and yet the big power players, the governor, her, Kwame, the attorney general, and the mayor, he's met with us about this issue, and I believe that he's going to do the right thing to help us push for the accountability. But like her, she can back to that, because I don't want to lose who can do something about this. She can unimpose the motion to vacate. She can restaff the post-conviction unit. She can restaff the criminal integrity unit, which she de-staffed tremendously. Dropped the numbers.
What is the criminal integrity unit?
So the criminal integrity unit was implemented and built off of giving these survivors, men and women, who's been putting in complaints against officers, being tortured by officers. Their witnesses were coerced by these officers. All of these things is to give them a second chance to prove, and they have to come in on newly discovered evidence. So a lot of people who were wrongfully convicted in the first place was convicted on falsified evidence, not credible evidence at all, strictly off of coerced confessions from witnesses. So a lot of things and things that was used to convict them has been either brought to light that they use bad DNA evidence, or the voice recognitions and stuff like that. New technology proves, so it gives them chances to come back, or even the witnesses, they want to recant now. They want to tell the truth about what happened to them. So all of that,
they're feeling guilty.
Yeah, all of that comes up under the criminal integrity unit, where it's supposed to give them a second chance, and that falls under the same category to a certain extent with the post-conviction unit as well. So both of those are basically supposed to look at newly discovered evidence and look at everything that wasn't implemented in the beginning to correct those wrongs. But these units that are supposed to take care, because we have 1,000 of people that's still wrongfully convicted within IDLC. And we have...
That we know about.
Yeah, that we know about. And we have hundreds of cases that are back in court right now. And instead of you making sure that you have the manpower you need to give justice to these people who've been wrong, you cut the staff on that. Why would you do something like that? If you care about justice, why would you do something like that if you care about community safety? There's no way that you are honestly a person that's in here to do the right thing or correct the wrongs of what's been done during the daily administration. All this is rooted. Come in with a person of humanity and get the innocent people out and find the real criminals who did these crimes. And then I want to say a couple more things, Trudy. Okay. Governor Prisoner, we've been fighting and trying to raise awareness to him. Governor Prisoner has not moved on any criminal cases. We have over 1,000 clemencies of men and women.
Clemency petitions.
That was sent to him. Number one, there's a process. It goes through the prison review board in order to even make it to his desk. So your review team has reviewed these cases and found that they're credible for a second chance or whatever commutation of their sentence, a full pardon for you to look at and for you to give them a second chance. He has not moved on any of these. But him and his lieutenant governor is saying that they're about prison reform. They're about reform and they care about people or injustices, and it's not true. Don't get on here lying to the viewers, lying to the communities. This is serious. Illinois is in trouble when it comes to the way the prison is being ran.
But who stands to gain from the system being the way it is, from injustice, from the injustice instead of the justice?
So you have a lot of unions. You have the Cook County Sheriff's Office, they have a union. You have the FOP, the Fraternal Order of Police, that has a union. You have the State's Attorneys Association. They all play a role in fighting and pushing back against a lot of our state legislators who are trying to pass bills to actually implement reform within the prison condition, like the House Bill 2367. They're getting pushed back from all of these names that I just named to give people a second chance at life, to give people a lot of people that shouldn't even be in there in the first place, it would get them out the door. So instead of them correcting the wrongs, they want to keep going, how it's designed, full of corruption, and those people are blocking. People may think like, the unions, they not powerful enough. These unions, Cook County Sheriff's Office, the State's Attorneys Association, the Fraternal Order of Police, they have trillions of dollars. They put a lot of money behind this system to run the way it's being ran.
Where's the money coming from? The unions?
The unions, their
just
members.
Just the dues?
No, they have stocks. Like, they have money, like they invest their money within the prison system. They keep the prisons filled. They keep money flowing.
So in other words, the money that the unions collect from their members, from the law enforcement, they invest those dues into the stock of the prison system.
They do that, and they do a lot of more other corrupt things to keep that money flowing, because they steal from the prisons. Like, the prison right now are being ran under inmate trust funds. These inmate trust funds, they are collecting interest off of the inmate trust funds, which is the money that the families send in to put on the inmates' books. Them inmates don't see that money. The inmate trust fund is money that is being brought in for inmates. Like, they make, let me tell you, they make about $29,000 right now off of each prisoner. $29,000. No, I'm sorry. To house a prisoner is $49,000 annually. These prisons the conditions are horrible. They not getting adequate medical care. They not getting sheets. They not getting proper clothing. We have to pay for the commissary. All of these things that y'all getting paid to take care of these inmates, but they're not doing with. So where's the money going?
So in other words, they're supposed to, let's say, provide soap for them, but the prisoners actually have to pay for the soap.
And the soap that they supposed to provide for them, they barely get it. They supposed to give them new sheets, new blankets, and all the new drawers and all that stuff on a yearly basis. They don't even do that.
So where is the enforcement? If there are rules in place to give these basic items to the prisoners, who enforces that the rules are followed?
So the director of IDOC, which is Latoya Hughes, who was just sworn in as because she was the acting director. Now she's actually director.
Illinois Department of Corrections.
Illinois Department of Corrections, of all Illinois Department of Corrections. She's supposed to do the checks and balances of the complaints that's coming in, because these guys got thousands of grievances put in of what is not being done in those prisons. She's supposed to check that and correct these issues, implement it. But we have a lot of correctional officers that are just like CPD. They are corrupt. They are KKK. They are running these prisons like actual slave ships. They are treating these humans like animals other than human beings. So a lot of grievances, they get thrown away. A lot of complaints, they have the internal affairs that's supposed to investigate this.
Which internal affairs department? The IDOC?
IDOC, Internal Affairs, handles all the grievances, and then it goes to, Springfield and all that. And you know what they do? They come back and find a lot of these grievances unfound, or they side with the correctional officers, and what we are urging and going to be demanding once we could implement it legislatively is that the governor prisoner and Latoya Hughes needs to stand with us in implementing that correctional officers wear body cameras. Just like all officers CPD, everybody have to wear body cameras. Why don't they? We need transparency and we need fairness to happen behind those walls as well, because those are actual humans behind those walls and they're not being treated like that.
How about the judiciary? Could the judiciary help at all? The judges and all that?
The judges, yes. The judges can, at any given time, just look at the history up until now and say enough is enough with the corruption. Enough is enough with these state's attorneys coming in here with these weak cases, with the bad evidence. Enough is enough. And then even with the judges that, excuse me, that's dealing with the lawsuits. There's so many lawsuits against IDOC. These people are not lying about the way they're living and how they're being treated in these prisons. They can step in and do the right thing and say no. Go fix it.
But what are the judges doing?
They're not. They're following the trend of continuing business as usual. They turning a blind eye. But again, this is why it's important for the message to get out, the voters to pay attention to who we are voting in. If you questioning the judge, go to injusticewatch.org. They do a very detailed report on a lot of these judges and their history. You got the John Howard Association do a lot of research when it comes to the prisons and the cases and stuff like that. It's a lot of things. Even our organization, follow us, get involved with us. If you want to have a voice, if you want to fight against these people, help us fight against them to bring it out there and tell them enough is enough. You know, and then even with the mayor before, because I know we're going to be running out of time, we can talk for days about this type of topic, but Mayor Johnson, we are encouraging, we are demanding as well that he pressures the superintendent. The superintendent, Larry Snelling, has the power to investigate and to fire these cops that we are dealing with right now that are still on our force for the crimes that they committed. There's no statute of limitations on murder. There's no statute of limitations on kidnap. You kidnapped all of these innocent people, put these bad cases on them, that's kidnapping. They didn't do the crimes. Then you put murder charges on a lot of these cases. You know they didn't commit a murder. So there needs to be some type of accountability, transparency within the Chicago Police Department. If y'all want the community to trust y'all, if y'all want the youth to trust y'all, we talk about a lot of things that we impacted by, but they miss the biggest thing: accountability, transparency.
But where is there any accountability and transparency? The system is so entrenched. Isn't Superintendent Snelling's hands tied too by the unions and by this system?
It is, but my hands are tied every day. But every day I'm going to get up and I'm going to fight, no matter who's fighting against me, no matter who's threatening me.
So are there any let's say, elected officials or anyone that has the power to help that is actually trying to help?
That is actually trying to help?
Yes.
I would say the mayor is trying his best to help, but when it comes to the prison system, it's like, even with that, they all walk on pins and needles, just being honest. And it's like someone has to say, you know what, we are dealing with a lot within locally right now, but let's not forget about those that's behind bars. It's like they're not making that as importance as everything else that they're making. The only person who I can say that really came in and ran on reform, accountability, is Kim Fox. And she stood on it and she showed it within the numbers of people that's been freed. So we need the superintendent, the mayor, the attorney general, the new state's attorney, all of them to run on those values of everybody is not guilty that's in those prisons. And the mayor has the power, and the aldermen, the automatic
do you have any
caucus.
aldermen that are trying to help? Any people that are, any aldermen that are advocating on your behalf?
No. We have some aldermen that's, we have Anthony, we have Jeanette Taylor, been the main ones that we got our referendum right now that's fighting for community control over police that's in city council right now, that we're pushing for to get the votes so it can be passed, so it can be on the ballot. We have a handful of aldermen that is pro accountability, and we still have to push them to keep the number priority of this injustices.
Well, Jasmine Smith,
Yes.
if our viewers want to learn more about your work, where should they go?
CAARPR.org, CAARPR, CAARPR.org, CFIST.org, Facebook, Instagram, activist Jasmine Smith, CAARPR.now, Chicago Alliance Against Race and Political Repression is our platforms, and they can reach me directly via cell. So just reach out through those platforms, and I send them my cell phone number. We need people like a fish need water to come stand with us with this fight.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jasmine Smith. From Bill Morton and me, thank you so much for watching Community Unity Now. I am Trudy Leong, Administrator of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. Thank you again for watching, and we will see you again next week.
Thank you.